Look at this yard. Not a single crabgrass shoot coming up through the mulch. Not one dandelion pushing through the soil. The ground is clean, the surface is even, and it looks like someone spent every weekend maintaining it. But here is what I need to tell you right now. Nobody has touched this yard in weeks. No Roundup. No landscape fabric. No weed barrier. No chemical spray. Nothing. The only thing I used was a stack of old newspapers. And I know what you are thinking. That cannot be real. But stay with me, because everything I am about to show you is backed by research from major American universities, and by the end of this video, you will have every step you need to do the exact same thing in your own yard this weekend. Does any of this sound familiar? It is the middle of summer, temperatures are pushing 90 degrees, and your yard staged a full comeback overnight. The crabgrass you cleared 2 weeks ago is already ankle-high again. The dandelions are back like they never left. So you go back out there, crouching in the heat, pulling and sweating, and for a little while the yard looks great. Then, 14 days later, you are standing in the exact same spot, doing the exact same thing all over again. Here is what I want you to hear. The problem is not that you are not working hard enough. The problem is that the approach you have been using was never designed to actually solve this. It was designed to send you back to the store. Today, I am going to walk you through 3 things. First, why weeds keep coming back no matter what you do. Second, the truth about what Roundup and landscape fabric actually do and do not do. And third, a simple 5-step method using newspaper and organic mulch that costs nothing, that Texas A&M research supports, and that you can start today. If you like finding smarter solutions to yard problems without spending a lot of money, hit subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next. Alright, let us get into it. So why do weeds always come back? Every single time, 2 weeks after you clear the yard, they are right back where they started. Most people think they did not pull the roots out completely. So they go back and dig harder, pull deeper, work longer. But here is the truth that changes everything. The weeds are not coming from the weeds you missed last time. They are coming from inside your own soil. And there are more of them waiting underground right now than you could ever pull out in a lifetime. Research on soil biology shows that a single square foot of ordinary backyard soil in the United States can contain thousands of dormant weed seeds just sitting beneath the surface, waiting. Some of those seeds have been in the ground for 5 years. Some for 15 years. Certain species like lamb's quarters and pigweed have seeds that remain viable for 40 years or more and still sprout the moment conditions are right. Your yard is not just a yard. It is a seed bank. And that seed bank is essentially inexhaustible with the tools most homeowners are currently using. Now, here is the part that most gardening advice completely skips over. What wakes those seeds up? The answer is light. Just light. When soil gets disturbed and seeds move closer to the surface, even a brief flash of sunlight is enough to trigger germination. Which means one of the most common things homeowners do to fight weeds is actually one of the most effective ways to grow more of them. Every time you till or dig or turn the soil, you are lifting seeds from deeper layers where no light reaches and bringing them up where they can wake up. You thought you were solving the problem. What you were actually doing was planting the next generation of weeds yourself. This is what researchers call the tillage trap. And it is why the most dedicated yard workers often have the most persistent weed problems. The reason your yard keeps filling back up is not a reflection of your effort. It is a sign that the strategy itself is working against you. You are fighting a seed bank with surface-level tools, and no matter how many times you clear the top, the bank underneath keeps making new deposits. Dandelions, crabgrass, nutsedge, bindweed, they are all drawing from the same bottomless reserve beneath your feet. That is the real problem. And once you understand it is about light and seeds, not pulling and spraying, everything else in this video is going to fall into place. Because the solution we're about to discuss does not fight weeds one by one, it shuts off the light to the entire seed bank at once. Now I want to talk about the two solutions most American homeowners turn to when they get serious about their weed problem. Americans spend nearly $5 billion on herbicides every single year. $5 billion. And that number goes up every year. Think about that for a moment. If these products were genuinely solving the problem, why would the market keep growing? Why would people keep buying more of something that is working? These products are not designed to solve your weed problem. They are designed to manage it just enough to keep you coming back for more. Here is what glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, actually does. When you spray it on a weed, it kills what is above ground. The yard looks clean, but the seed bank underneath is completely untouched. Glyphosate never reaches dormant seeds. So, while the surface looks clear, the next generation of weeds is already preparing to emerge from exactly the same spots. 2 weeks later, you spray again, then again, and the cycle never ends because the product was never designed to end it. Making things worse, the Weed Science Society of America documented 524 unique cases of herbicide resistance in 2024 alone. The crabgrass and pigweed growing in yards across the Southeast and Midwest have been steadily evolving to survive glyphosate. You end up using more product, spending more money, and getting worse results than you did 5 years ago. And beyond effectiveness, Bayer quietly stopped selling glyphosate-based products for residential use in the United States in 2023, after more than 4,300 lawsuits were filed. You deserve to know that before you reach for that bottle again. So, what about landscape fabric? The packaging promises 10 years of weed-free results, professional-grade performance, a one-time install. I understand the appeal. I used to believe it too. But here is what actually happens after a few seasons. The intense ultraviolet exposure and summer heat break down the plastic and polyester fibers at the microscopic level. Tiny cracks form. Weeds thread their roots through those cracks and anchor into the soil below. By the time you notice, their roots are woven into the fabric so tightly that removing them means pulling up the entire barrier. And the damage underneath is worse. Dark landscape fabric absorbs heat and transfers it into the soil, pushing temperatures to levels that earthworms and beneficial microbes cannot survive. The living ecosystem that makes healthy soil productive gets cooked out of existence season by season. You spent money to protect your yard and instead spent years slowly degrading it. When you eventually pull that fabric up, what you find is not protected healthy soil. It is dense, compacted, lifeless ground that has lost everything it needs to support growth. So what actually works? The answer is newspaper. Before you roll your eyes, let me explain the science, because when you understand why it works, you will never doubt it. Everything comes down to one biological fact. Weed seeds need light to germinate, not water alone, not warmth alone. Light. This is one of the most consistent and well-documented principles in plant science. Crabgrass, dandelion, nutsedge, pigweed, bindweed, virtually every common weed that plagues American backyards requires light exposure to sprout. No matter how many seeds are sitting in your soil, if none of them can detect light, none of them will sprout. Newspaper is made primarily from cellulose fiber. When cellulose fiber gets wet, the individual strands swell and interlock, forming a dense, flexible mat that conforms to the soil surface. That mat blocks light completely while remaining porous enough to allow water and air to move through freely. Rain soaks through newspaper and reaches the soil. Earthworms and soil microbes keep working underneath. The only thing that gets blocked is light. And that is the only thing that needs to be blocked. Skip Richter, a horticulture specialist with the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, has publicly confirmed that 4 to 6 sheets of newspaper layered on the soil and covered with organic mulch can block the majority of weed growth through an entire growing season. Penn State University research found pelletized newspaper effective at suppressing common weeds, including horseweed and spotted spurge. Researchers at Colorado State University compared paper-based mulch directly against black plastic sheeting and found paper performed comparably for weed suppression while producing significantly lower soil temperatures. Underneath. 3 major American universities. Same conclusion. Newspaper works. And one more thing people always ask. Is the ink safe? Modern American newspapers use soy-based or water-based inks that break down naturally in soil without leaving harmful residues. As the newspaper decomposes over 12 to 18 months, it contributes organic carbon and feeds beneficial microbes. The thing you were about to throw in the recycling bin is actually a free soil amendment. All right, here are the 5 steps. No special tools. No experience required. No money needed. Step 1. Cut the existing weeds down to about an inch above the soil surface using scissors or garden shears. Do not pull the roots. Do not dig. Digging disturbs the soil and activates more seeds. Just cut and leave the clippings where they fall. They become the first layer of organic material in your new system. Step 2. Water the area thoroughly until the soil is moist a few inches deep. Moist soil acts like a natural adhesive and pulls the newspaper down against every contour of the ground, eliminating air pockets where weeds could push through. If it just rained and the soil is already saturated, skip this step. Step 3. Layer 10 to 12 sheets of newspaper across the entire area, overlapping adjacent sections by at least 6 inches. If you live in a high rainfall region like the Southeast or Pacific Northwest, where paper decomposes faster, go up to 14 to 16 layers. Those 2 numbers, 10 to 12 layers and 6 inches of overlap, are non-negotiable. Weed roots spread laterally underground, looking for gaps in the light barrier. The overlap closes that escape route. Step 4. Water the newspaper again after it is all laid down. Watch as the paper darkens, swells, and conforms tightly to the soil. It becomes heavy enough that wind and summer storms cannot shift it. Step 5. Cover everything with 2 to 4 inches of organic mulch. Shredded bark, wood chips, and straw all work well. This top layer protects the newspaper from ultraviolet exposure and heavy rain, extending its effective life significantly. It also gives your yard a clean, finished look that works in any neighborhood and meets any homeowners association standard. And it does not have to cost anything. A free service called Chip Drop at chipdrop.com connects homeowners with local tree crews who need to offload wood chips. Many people get a full truckload delivered to their driveway at no charge. Municipal composting programs in cities across the country also offer free or very low-cost mulch to residents. Now I want you to picture something. It is July. The air is heavy by 9 in the morning. Your neighbor is crouched in the full sun pulling crabgrass out of the same beds they cleared 3 weeks ago. Now look at your yard. The wood chips sit clean and even across every bed. Not a single dandelion pushing through. The crabgrass that used to reclaim the borders every August simply never appeared this year. You are sitting on your porch with a cold glass of iced tea, and the yard looks like something out of a home and garden feature. No Roundup. No landscape fabric. No Saturday on your hands and knees. That is not a fantasy. That is what this method delivers, and you can start it this weekend. Quick recap before you head outside. Step 1. Cut weeds to about an inch above the soil. Leave clippings in place. Do not dig. Step 2. Water the soil thoroughly until moist a few inches deep. Step 3. Layer 10 to 12 sheets of newspaper with at least 6 inches of overlap, more layers for wet climates. Step 4. Water the newspaper again to lock it against the soil. Step 5. Cover with 2 to 4 inches of organic mulch and get it free through Chip Drop at chipdrop.com. One last thing. If you no longer get a newspaper delivered, that is completely fine. Doctor and dentist waiting rooms always have stacks nobody takes home. Public libraries cycle through reading copies regularly. Local coffee shops are happy to pass them along. A quick post on Nextdoor asking neighbors for old papers almost always gets responses within hours. Within 20 minutes of looking, you will have more than you need. Drop a comment and tell me what weed has been giving you the most trouble this season, and what state you are in. Timing and layer counts can vary by climate, and I want to give you a useful answer. If this video changed how you think about your yard, hit like so other homeowners dealing with the same frustrations can find it. Subscribe so you are notified when the next video drops. Coming up next, I'm going to show you how to bring compacted lifeless soil back to full health using something most households throw away every single week. You will not want to miss it. Your yard deserves better. And so does your weekend.